Welcome back to the show. Now, planting the green shoots of tomorrow's environmental protectors. That's what our next guest hopes to do with his efforts to get environmental education incorporated into school curriculum in a structured way.
Vice President and publisher of National Geographic Explorer, Francis Downey, joins us in the studio this morning with more on how he feels children should be exposed to all things green from a young age. Good morning, Francis. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
So how did you get involved with education, and specifically environmental education?
Well, it started when I was very young. I always enjoyed hiking and camping. When I was 16, I built a nature trail at a nature center in my hometown back in the States, and have always been involved in education and environmental education ever since. My first job was actually designing integrated environmental curriculum in Connecticut, which is a state in the U.S.
And you thought you want to bring it down to children because a lot of times we try and educate people when they're adults and you find it's not quite as effective.
Absolutely. We develop our best habits when we're children. So I think by reaching out to children, and they can also change our behavior. You know, as parents, we know that, you know, in talking to our children, they bring lots of ideas home from school. I have a daughter who's in kindergarten right now, and she's learning environmental education at school. And she came home the other day and said, we have to turn off the lights when we're not using them to save the penguins. So she is changing our habits, and we're fairly aware of and try to turn off the lights when we're not using it, but she's helping us be better.
Yeah, so your little green police in your house going, recycle that, Daddy, that's a bottle that can go in that bin.
I've taught her too much.
What's the best way, though, to go about incorporating environmental education in the classroom?
I think one of the best ways is to integrate it into what the teacher is doing already. Teachers are very busy. We have a very crowded curriculum. We're asking our teachers to teach more and more. So if we can find ways of integrating it into what they're already doing. For example, when a teacher is teaching reading, she can be have the students read something that's environmentally related. And I think that's the best way of doing it. And I think environmental stories really capture kids' imagination. And that's half the battle in school, is engagement, is engaging students. So giving them high-interest content, high-interest science, environmental stories, very important. And I think teachers will find that it's easier to teach reading if the kids are engaged.
And of course, to help with that, great pictures to tell the story. And of course, National Geographic, known for its great photos. But I've just opened up the Explorer. This is an example of some of the content that goes to the schools that the teachers can use as a guide to help them. I mean, maybe tell us more. For instance, I mean, what would these? Would they kind of craft a story about this and sort of talk to the students about it?
Absolutely. That story happens to be about the life cycle of butterflies, and many students raise butterflies at school and they release them. And so this story goes along with that lesson at school. We teach the different parts of a butterfly. We teach the life cycle of the butterfly and some of the other academic vocabulary that goes along with the life cycle. We also give a full teacher's guide, which you're showing right now. So we tell the teachers how to teach that lesson and how to integrate it into what they're already doing. And then we have those great National Geographic photos that you mentioned to really capture the kids' imaginations.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think also it's important for them to get hands-on learning? How is that incorporated?
Absolutely. Science and environmental education are best taught hands-on. You know, we want to introduce them to some concepts in the magazine, but then we need to get them outside. So going to Sentosa, for example, on a nature trail is an excellent way to see plant and animal wildlife and to learn more about environmental education. But getting out there and really doing things is one of the best ways of learning.
Definitely, I think that, I mean, I suppose in Singapore especially, it's such an urban sort of built-up environment. Even though we do have trees, it's very important to show the kids there's another side to life, right?
Absolutely. And there are still some green spaces in Singapore.
Yeah.
And there are lots of different habitats. You also have a lot of ocean habitats, for example. So kids can go to the shore, explore the ocean habitats, the seashore habitats. There are coral reefs nearby, and they can explore those through photographs as well as going to the shoreline.
But all the while sort of reinforcing that message, though, that these places need to be saved. So do you tie in back into the classroom?
Absolutely. And I think it's also teaching kids that they can make a difference. It's not just big corporations and governments, but us as individuals can make important changes, and if we all do them, those changes will really add up over time.
I guess it's just learning how to, their lifestyles change because they know that if I do A, therefore B will occur. And these little things can sort of go a long way.
Absolutely, it's making the right choices.
Yeah.
Have you ever had challenges in your course of work? I mean, there's some kids or some teachers who just like sort of, you know what, I don't care. It's like, I don't care with the environment thing. Like.
Yep, absolutely, we've had that. I would say more in the past than today. I'd say worldwide today, people are really environmentally aware and they really want to make a difference. So people are beginning to think globally. They're beginning to talk globally, but they're acting locally. And so on the local level, they're making real differences about how they interact with the environment, making decisions on whether to buy recycled products. For example, I bought this tie right before coming here. It's made out of 65% recycled paper. Yet it feels like silk.
You gotta pass you the contract.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I have to say, some success stories that you've had?
Well, we've had a lot of success stories. Lots and lots of kids are really making change. They are talking to their parents. As I said, my daughter is having us turn off all the lights. We see teachers really seeing the importance of environmental education. They're really embracing the magazine. They see it very useful for two reasons. One is engagement. The high interest stories and the photographs really capture the kids' imagination, and it's teaching the content they want to teach. Teachers today are trying to find the time to teach environmental education because they see the importance. And they see the importance of teaching kids that, so that kids can make better decisions when they become adults.
Have you ever heard of the kids sort of leading a project where, because they've learned about the environment and therefore spearheading a project at school to change certain things? Or
Absolutely. We have seen kids introduce recycling programs at schools. We've seen them introduce composting programs at school. And also we've seen them request using more digital content at school and not just paper content.
That's a bit ironic because you print still. Do they come and tell you, maybe we should go online with this,
Yes. Well, we do have the print product, but we also have a lot of online content as well. We have an e-zine version of the magazine, a digital version of it. We also have interactive whiteboard content that the teachers can use. So we have it on the platforms that the teachers would really want to use it on.
What do you think are the biggest challenges today that sort of prevent parents, children, teachers from being sort of more environmentally conscious? I mean, what do you think like the main problems that stand in our way?
I still think it's awareness. I think as people become more aware of the environment, they're willing to take action because they see it affecting them today. For example, I think worldwide, fresh water is a huge issue facing us. And it faces all of us, no matter where we live. And people are really beginning to see that. And they're willing to take action. They're willing to change their lifestyles. Global warming is another issue that's really affecting the entire world. People are seeing the results of it already, and they're willing to take action and again, change their lifestyles in big and small ways to try and limit the impact of global warming.
I guess, unfortunately, going green.
Gets worse, then we'll get more.
Yeah, people, because you often equate going green with being a bit more inconvenient, spending, costing more. Because some, unfortunately, things like if you buy recycled paper, that still costs more than ordinary paper in that sense.
Absolutely, and I think it's making the smart choices. Buying recycled white paper might not be the best way because making it so white is very expensive, very difficult. But buying recycled cardboard, for example, might be a better use of recycled paper. Buying ties might be a better, and this tie didn't cost any more than a regular tie. So I think it's really looking at how we recycle and the products that we choose to recycle. A lot of toys today are made out of recycled plastics, for example. So they're taking pop bottles and turning them into jump ropes and toy trucks.
Anyway, I realized that there's no point buying the toys because they enjoy playing with the box the toys come in more than the toy itself. So I'm like, why did I buy the toy? Just go get a cardboard box.
Just buy cardboard.
Exactly.
One last question. What do you think parents can do?
I think one of the things that parents can do is to have family meetings with their children. And as a family, they can make a plan, an environmental plan on what things that they're going to do, whether it's saving water or turning off lights after they're using them, limiting the amount of TV that they watch, for example. But by coming up with a family plan, then the parents are communicating to their children that this is important. They're not just hearing it at school, but they're hearing it from their parents as well. And I think by acting together, they can make a big difference. And acting as a family unit, then they can extend out, act as a neighborhood, act as a community, a nation, and a world. Because many of the problems that we're facing are really global problems, but we have to start solving them locally.
Fantastic news. Well, locally means right in your home, so you heard the man.
Absolutely.
That's right. We've been speaking to National Geographic Explorer's publisher Francis Downey about environmental education for kids.
If you'd like to find out more about how to get the young involved and interested in all things green, do log on to this website. It's greenspaceprogram.org.
And Francis will also be speaking in Singapore at the National Child Education Conference and Exhibition on the 30th of May to the 1st of June at the Singapore Expo. You'll have more details on that website on your screen right now.
Well, for Sean Brigham, Prime Time Morning, do stay tuned. There's still lots more going on.
See you in a bit.